are our notes for lesson 2.3. At this point in time, please update your table of contents. We are on number 5, lesson 2.3 notes. And our focus today is going to be adding and subtracting rational numbers. And as a review, please remember that a rational number is any number that can be written in the form of a fraction. We will be adding and subtracting fractions with like denominators, and we will be adding and subtracting decimals. Let's go ahead and try on a number line. Our first problem is 3/10 plus -1 2/10. Now, the graph provided for us is going up by increments of 2/10. So the first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to make sure when you go to graph your 3/10 that you are going halfway between 2/10 and 4/10. So starting at 0, giant leap, and then halfway in between 2/10 and 4/10. Now, we are adding a negative, and if you remember from Chapter 1, anytime we add a negative on a number line, we are going to move to the left. This is -1 2/10. That would also mean it is 12/10. So I'm going to move 12/10 of a unit to the left. Let's go ahead and watch. We're at 3/10. So one jump would make us go to 2/10, and then halfway in between is 1/10, and now we're at 0. I've moved 3 spots so far. I need to move a total of 12. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Where are we located? Well, we're located halfway between -1 and -8/10. Our answer is a -9/10. Now let's try this with fractions. Our first number is 1/5, giant leap to 1/5. And now since our second number we are adding is a positive, we're going to move to the right on the number line, and we're going to move to the right 2/5. Now this graph is really nice because we are moving in 1/5 increments across the graph. So now just move to your right 2/5. And where did you end up? At our answer of 3/5. Now what we'll do is we'll just review. To add or subtract rational numbers with the same denominator, make sure that you add or subtract the numerators and keep your denominator. We always keep the denominator. We do not add them together. So just add or subtract your numerators and keep your denominator. Now remember, we are going to be working with positive and negative numbers, so it's important for you to remember that subtracting a number is the same as adding an opposite. And we did that back in the last unit by subtracting integers by copy, change, and opposite. The first problem that we have is 6/7 plus -3. Now think of it as this answer or question. 6 plus -3 over 7. Are the signs the same or are they different? They are different, so we're going to subtract 6 and -3. 6 minus 3 is 3, and since 6 is further from 0, that 3 stays as a positive. Positive 3/7. Now we'll look at our next problem. Notice the negative sign located evenly with the fraction bar. That whole entire fraction is a negative, but what we want to do is we want to move that that negative sign up next to the 2. So if we were to rewrite this problem, it would become negative 2 minus 5 all over 9. And again, subtracting is the same as adding an opposite. So if we rewrite this problem, negative 2, and instead of subtract 5, we add its opposite, we end up adding a negative 5. Signs are the same. Add like normal and keep the sign. Final answer is negative 7/9. We evaluated back in chapter 1. Now we're just going to be evaluating with fractions and decimals. Nothing new has changed, or nothing new. We are just going to substitute our value in for our variable of x. So, the given problem is 12 1/10 minus x, and when x is negative 1/10, I will now substitute negative 1/10, negative 1/10, Mrs. J. And that's a subtraction problem, so I want to copy, change, and opposite. And when we go ahead and add, our answer is 12 2/10. Now let's try that with fractions. We have 7/10 plus m, 7/10 plus 3 1/10. Leave the whole number the way that it is. Only add your numerators. Can that answer be reduced or simplified? It sure can. We can divide both the numerator and the denominator by 2 over 2. And we come up with a final answer of positive 3 4/5. And the final thing we'll talk about is a story problem. In August of 2001, at the World University Games in Beijing, China, Jamira Hicks ran the 200-meter dash in 24 8/100 seconds. Her best time at the U.S. Senior National Meet in June of the same year was 23 35/100 of a second. How much faster did she run in June? Remember, you want to start with the largest number, and when we're talking about speed, 24 8/100 is slower than 23 35/100. Remember, subtraction of decimals. Line up your decimal points. That also goes for adding of decimals. Make sure you line up your decimals, and now we're okay to start. 8 minus 5 is 3. I can't take 3 away from 0, so I need to regroup. And 10 minus 3 is 7. So our final answer is 73/100 seconds faster. And at this point in time, I'd like you to go ahead and try the 3 questions that you see here on the practice. Come to class tomorrow with any questions that you may have over this lesson, and we will go ahead and do some activities to help you practice. Have a good evening.